Hi everyone, it's Eddie Arguelles, your agent success coach at Liberty Title, and today we're in downtown Stuart getting ready for Lead Gen Launch 2024, and it's going to have everything you need to know to build your business and generate the leads you need to grow in 2024. But I want to get started so that we can get through our session today and have you off on your way, hopefully much smarter about lead generation in 2024. So please, welcome to Lead Gen Launch 2024. So the goals for today, the first one is, and I'd like to get right to it, is to be proactive about your lead generation. Does everyone here have a really solid lead generation effort that you all are very excited about, that works for you all the time and you're masterful at it? Anyone? No, no one here. Good. Then you're in the right room. Because that's what we're going to talk about today. And number two is one that's near and dear to my nerdy heart, is leveraging technology and data. This one, to me, is paramount. There hasn't been a time in technology, in our business, in our industry, where technology and data have not been not only more available to us, but more precise and more accessible to actually act on. Which I think is incredibly important. That's one of the things we're going to touch on today. And this one is also kind of in my career, which I'll talk to you about in a second, as to who the hell is this guy talking on the stage, is identify your audience and deliver what they need. So you can't talk to everyone. It tends to fall on deaf ears. And in a world now where we're also inundated with social media and all kinds of marketing efforts, if you're not specific, you don't land, you don't hit, you don't reach. You can't talk to everybody. You can't say, look at my new listing. Okay, well, who cares? Unfortunately, that's what we're drowned in, and really just falls on deaf ears. So welcome and thank you again for being here with us. I value your time and I appreciate you all being here today. My name is Eddie Arguelles. I've been in real estate. I've been a real estate broker for 20 years now. I started the first half of my career, actually less than half, about 8 years, in Illinois and Chicago, in a very cold area, which none of us want to be in right now. And the latter half, these last 12 or so years here in Florida, I moved my family here about 12 years ago. I have two beautiful daughters, one that was entrepreneurial enough to leave the nest at 18 and go to San Diego. She's killing it. I love her, and it was scary because as a dad, daughter, 18, San Diego, California. Yeah, it's a little wild, but we did it, and she's doing great. And my other one is my brainiac, who's at UF, had a full ride and doing fantastically well, straight A's. Could not be prouder as well. I wanted to go through the room. That's a little bit about me. Oh, it's all right. Are you here for? Join us, please. Have a seat. Don't worry about it. My past and my background has been in training other agents in marketing techniques, in being able to reach the customer by way of marketing strategies, and very specifically about video marketing strategies, which we'll see here later in the end, because that's kind of the world that we're living in. Not all of us like to be on camera or be in front of people, but a lot of us do have, because we're in sales, the gift of gab. So we have a lot to say. So there's other ways to leverage that knowledge that doesn't have to necessarily be on video. But I want to, just to kind of set the stage here, and for me to have an understanding of who's in the room, I'd like us to quickly go around the room, just introduce yourself, who you are, what brokerage you're in, what you've been up to, how long you've been in the industry, and your one goal for 2024. That we all need, as we start the year, we need to have goals in mind. What is your goal for your business? Obviously, we're coming off of a very quiet, kind of a slow market. with the interest rates and everything. But I'd love to start at the top of the room here, please.
My goal is to work less and make more money.
Love it. Fantastic. Thank you. Please.
I've been doing this part-time because I had full-time jobs. So really my goal now is, because I feel like so much time has passed, is to grow my sphere of influence and try to, get out there and do what you're saying. I hate to have the camera on me, but learn to be able to do that.
Sure. Well, that's just one of many things we're going to talk about today, and it's not the only answer. And that's
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's one of my weaknesses.
So my goal is to learn the details of the industry from inside out and feel comfortable to move around and do what is right, basically to walk in step with the progress.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you very much.
I've been in real estate for about 5.5 years now, and my goal for this year would be to grow my business and focus on getting more listings.
On more listings. Wonderful.
And my goal for 2024 is to grow the team so that not only we're working less, but they're also more productive and happier.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you.
My goal is to build a brand and to also be successful with getting listings.
Build the brand. I love hearing that. I love hearing that. Next.
I'm looking to grow my social media presence as well as my brand. I'm about 3 months in.
3 months in. Excellent. Excellent. From what previous work? What type of work?
I used to be assistant manager at Empire.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Welcome.
My main focus is to revise, rebrand, and relaunch myself for this year.
Excellent. Fantastic. Love it.
We've been doing this for about 11 years, helped agents do over $2 billion worth of Treasure Coast real estate sales. This year, just trying to help these guys grow their business by minimum 30% or more from whatever their goals are.
Excellent. Thanks for bringing them through, Steve. Appreciate it.
Bert Hogan, Atlanta Shores Realty, been in the business for just over 8 years now. Biggest goal this year is to build a team, because I average anywhere between 35 to 45 sales a year, and it's getting a little too much for me. So I'd like to build a team, get the online brand going, because it's all pretty much word of mouth at this point, and have more opportunities for off-market sales, as I also own a portfolio of rental properties as well.
So you're definitely busy. You definitely need help.
Yeah.
And to be able to scale it out even further past where. So now it's just basically, sounds like you're just looking to then add fuel to the fire, but you're going to need help to go from 35 to 70, right? And so on and so forth. Yeah.
Exactly.
Excellent, excellent. Well, welcome. Well, thank you all. Thanks so much for that. I appreciate that. That really helps give me some context as to who I'm talking to. I know that I've got some really experienced people that have been in this business for a while, and some newer, fresher faces that are looking to attack it and have a very exuberant mindset about building their business. So that's wonderful. So again, I've started to partner with Jonathan at Liberty Title. It's been fantastic, us working together. Him and I sat down and we said, what can we do together? How can we leverage my experience, my background to help further, building goodwill and business throughout the Treasure Coast for him and beyond as well too, down to Palm Beach as well. And so one of the things that we came up with was hosting these events where they are open to all of you to come and continue to learn. And one of my goals for this event is to hear you all out and see what it is that you want to learn. What is it that's missing in what you'd like to know to grow your business, so that we can then use that as a framework for upcoming events as well. Okay, so thank you for that. So what is Agent Hub? Agent Hub is actually going to be the home for all of us staying connected. And so when you join Agent Hub, which is powered by Liberty Title, you'll always stay abreast of what's going on, what the events are, what are the new tools that the Liberty Title is investing in that's going to help grow your business, okay? And then obviously that we've talked about the objective of lead gen launch and what you can expect today. And at the very end, we're going to have some Q&A, because that's my favorite. I think we get the most out of that after we're all done going through everything. I'd love to hear your questions so that we can be very specific and tactical about how to respond and how you can do something to move the needle in your business. So let's a real quick snapshot of the market. Again, I'm in sales myself, been doing it for a long time. These top 4 items are a hot conversation all day, every day for the past year or so. This is what's going on. Everyone should in this room be shaking their heads because this is all pretty standard and redundant for people like us. This is the information that we hear being put out to our public, and this is what we got to let them know. But just as much as there are challenges, we need to be the ones providing the solution. So what does that demand? It demands knowing these things here. So at the very top, of course, we have low inventory. We still have low inventory. We don't have enough. Now, it wasn't too urgent because interest rates did this, and everybody went on the sidelines and said, no, I can't afford it. It's too much. I'm priced out. All of these things had happened. But that demand is there. Does anybody in this room think that that the minute these interest rates, and they're starting to get there, hit a number that makes it feasible for everyone else to enter the market, that it's just going to shoot right up? Right? Right? There just isn't enough. At some point, husband and wife, or whoever the avatar is, are going to look at each other, they're going to say, it's at 5.15 or 4.75. I don't know if it's going to get in the fours. We'll see. But let's say it gets there. The math works, hopefully. The math starts to work, and they can now buy that house. Well, there's going to be a lot of those people coming off the fence, and what is that going to do to prices? They're going to go up. And why necessarily here? Now, is that throughout the entire country? Maybe, to a certain degree, but not because we live here, but this is a super nice place to live, and everybody wants to live here. Everybody wants to move to this area, right? So we are in a desirable area. So that's what's geographically desirable about our area. So what does that demand for us? As professionals, as agents, obviously we need to educate, but we need to be more proactive in our lead generation. We need to be really prepared to talk to the people that are on the fence potentially, that haven't raised their hand yet, that said, you know, I might potentially want to sell my house. And a lot of this today is going to be a lot about seller side, right? Not so much buyer side. It's going to be seller side, because we as agents are responsible for bringing in more inventory, excuse me, more inventory into our market because the customers demand it. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is we're going to leverage technology to find these people. It's not enough to say, let's bring on more listings. From where? From who? Who's selling? Who wants to sell? Who's potentially interested in selling? Why would they be selling? And so the data as to what we're going to find is who owns this property, how long have they owned it, how much equity do they have, how long have they been there. All of this minutia, which is so powerful of data that's available to us, and we'll go into the tool here in a moment, is incredibly useful to not target everyone, but target a specific group of people. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I realize that you've been in your home now 9.5 years. It looks like you've built up, however you want to word yourself, right? A fair enough amount of equity in there. Is that something you're possibly considering? Are you ready to make a move? Because I'm going to tell you that your house on 123 Main Street, those are houses and neighborhoods that my customers are interested in, and there just isn't anything I can sell them in there. Is that something you would consider? Even just to have a conversation or a meeting. No sales, no hard sales. Yeah, we're starting to think about it. And so you're only making 17 of those calls, not 170. And why only 17 is because those are the most likely, and they fit the areas you want to serve. Sewell's Point. And the more you do that, you don't need to be talking to 1,700 people. You only need to be talking to 17 because the data tells you that. Okay? So again, that goes back to serving a specific audience and solving specific problems. So again, being very specific. And with that, I would like to welcome the gentleman who's responsible for all this. So Jonathan Catlin of Liberty Title.
So I'm Jonathan Castlein. I'm the president of Liberty Title. My goal is to make your job easier, to give you the best, the brightest, the fastest tools to make 2024 your best year. You've been doing this quite some time. Some of you are newbies. Regardless of how much time you spent in the business, Technology, I think, is the biggest opportunity in the US economy, meaning that the $25 trillion real estate economy still doesn't have the right and appropriate technology tools to actually thrive and survive. That's why I came to Liberty. I've been in financial services for 20 years. I think the tech opportunity in real estate is the biggest opportunity that's actually out there. So let's run through some things that we've started to do and where we're going. So Liberty Title, as you know, a lot of you have done business with us. You know, we're really scrappy, 15-year local agency with a lot of expertise. Our closers have been there for over 10 years. We've basically vertically integrated the teams. We've hired some new processors. So when someone comes to with a file to Liberty, the same team touches that file all the way through. It really assists in efficiency and customer service and the efficacious of the file. We've spent a lot of time basically modernizing these businesses. So we've put in new title management software. So Qualia is a venture-backed system founded by a University of Pennsylvania engineer. And this may not mean a lot, but Qualia basically, our processing times are down by 50%. So what used to take 10 days in a title file now takes 5 days. So it's more electronic documentation. We use all e-signings. Everything comes back into Qualia, and we speed you to the closing table. Secondly, we've changed our escrow manager to Bank United. Bank United is an escrow manager that focuses exclusively on the title insurance business. Prior to that, we were working with a Midwest bank, PNC, and their turnaround times could take up to a day. It was almost a day to get funding in and out, which just is, as you know, in this world with your customers and the demands of potentially moving to another file at another company or doing a double closing, that just doesn't work. Bank United, focusing on the title insurance business, our turnaround times are 15 to 20 minutes on inbound and outbound wires. So we've modernized this business almost overnight. And then lastly, using e-filings. We used to send deeds, mortgages, affidavits into the clerk using FedEx, which just really is not up to the times. So we implemented Simplifile, which is an e-filing system. We upload the documents, goes out to the clerk, it's recorded within a few hours. So from a customer standpoint, you can think that this is the safest way to do title. Everything's recorded, there's no gap period, and as far as a title company that's looking out for their customers, this is the best and fastest and safest way to convey title. Yep, 15 years, we are there, next. So we've done some basic things which I think are really useful and out of the gate you can utilize. So on the brochures in front of you, there's a QR code. And we've partnered with TitleCapture, which we put on our website. Eddie, can you go to the website?
Absolutely.
So everything drives off of our website, golibertytitle.com. So when you come to the home page, everything is laid out for you. So if you need a quick quote, which is our partnership with TitleCapture, that's where that lives. So what does TitleCapture do? Well, firstly, when you scan the QR code, I talk to so many agents that don't have the pricing application on their phone. So when you're out with customers, when you're on the out enjoying your weekend, or someone calls you, needs something right away, you have to go to your PC, and you don't have the technology right on your phone. So if you scan the QR code, whether you're on a Mac or a PC, the instructions are there to download the application to your phone. So I think that one of the biggest questions realtors get is, what is this going to cost? So whether it's from the website or from the phone, you can click on your title quote. And does anyone have an address they're looking to sell, or?
291
291.
Southeast, or Holden Terrace. H-A-R-D.
So everything drives off of the address, and then basically, your transaction type, you're either cash or financing. Let's just say, let's make it complicated and say, well, there's a loan on the file, so let's just stick with financing. Let's do a sales price of $350. Let's do a loan of $250. And then these items here, this is where you sort of get into your role as negotiator. Who's paying for title? Is the buyer or seller? That's part of the negotiating tactic. As you know, in St. Lucie, seller traditionally pays. Always check with your customers whether there's a prior policy. Doesn't matter whether it's the seller or the buyer. If title's been cleared within 3 years, there'll be a discount to the policy. And let's click calculate. So boom, clean, organized, 2-column quote, what the buyer's gonna pay, what the seller's gonna pay. And really the punchline here is all this information can either be sent to your customer via email, so immediately you're connecting with your customer with this information and data, or it can be downloaded as a PDF and sent to an email. So as you see, 2 clear columns, seller's paying this, title insurance is promulgated, it'll always be the same price. The buyer will always pay the lender's policy. These are our fees here. And then what's also equally important is understanding what other costs will be associated with the transfer. So when obviously there's doc stamps on both sides, when you're transferring a deed, the seller will pay for the doc stamps for the deed, $2,400 on this $350,000 transaction. And there'll also be recording fees for the new mortgage and the new deed. So all in one interface, you're getting the entire cost for title, the entire cost for all the transfer taxes, and a grand total.
And let me just say, let me interrupt real quick. Just from an agent's perspective and from a marketing perspective, the ability to send this out preemptively to your clients that you're working with right now, even if you just took the listing or you're about to take the listing, right, and you have an idea of what the price is, being able to provide value to them, excuse me, beforehand and say, by the way, this is what you can expect. That, especially if you're trying to earn the business, because proactively you're saying, boy, this guy or this gal, they're on it. And they're sending me information specifically about my property and what it's going to cost me so I can make a more educated decision when I decide to list my house with them.
Exactly. So again, what is this going to cost? To the website, to the phones. We've provided you, what is fairly basic, but as I say, vitally useful when it's at your fingertips and in an organized fashion. And again, Eddie, if you just scroll up, you can email this to your customer, you can download the PDF, and you can also edit it in any way, shape, or form. The other item, which I think is obviously very useful, is a net seller sheets. Again, driving off of our website. Go to libertytitle.com. What is a seller going to net from the sale of this property? A little more complicated. Let's do another address. Does anyone else have an address to Conrad?
2449 Southeast Cameron, Camerin.
What sort of sales price here?
420.
420.
Let's just say we're closing in March 8th, just for fun.
Say seller pays for title. And then here's where you get into a lot of value add information. So when you're interacting with your customer, okay, what does the payoff look like? What's the existing mortgage on the property? So it's $100,000.
Okay.
So we had a $100,000 note. Brokerage commissions, obviously these are items that are very emotionally and highly charged, but let's say 2.5% aside. Let's say, hypothetically, that there's a transaction fee of $395. We could put in HOA dues if there are. Let's say they're $500 a month.
What is it?
There's none, 0.
It's 0. Okay, we'll follow yours.
And let's move into more complicated things. Let's just say the seller was going to agree to pay for a new roof. So we could put an expense in there. And let's say there's a $20,000 roof coming through.
Mm-hmm.
I would put the property taxes in as well, so it shows it.
Calculate?
Yep, it's calculated. So down to the dollar, you have a schedule and a pinpoint number as to what title would cost, the transfer taxes and doc stamps, netting from the mortgage payoff. You got real estate commissions here, the transaction fee, And let's just say hypothetically they agreed to a new roof that the seller was going to pay prior to the transaction, prior to closing. So $272,000. Pinpoint to the number, this is what you're getting from this transaction. Again, in an organized fashion, it's, if we scroll to the top, this can be emailed or downloaded and sent directly to your customer. So it's little things like this which, you know, as I say, are highly valuable, highly value added, and show right away that you can drive value to your customer.
You want me to go back? Yeah. What do you want me to go back to?
Go back to the slides, please.
Okay.
Okay, what else we've done is we've brought on Alexa Durso as head of client services with the lead gen system, which is the latest and greatest, just rolled out. And basically, if you think about what's going on in the marketplace, there's a lack of listings. There's low inventory because people with 3.5% mortgages are not apt to sell their home. So what do people need to do to be successful as a realtor? Basically, you need to research the unlisted marketplace, which means that you have to go out there and drum up new customers, new listings, new points of contact. So we, again, driving off of our website, we have put the latest piece of lead generation technology called Title Toolbox, which basically, it drives off all the consensus information in the US. It's updated about a month after every conveyance, and it repopulates the system, which we'll use for research purposes. So I'm going to introduce Alexa, who'll help us run us through Title Toolbox.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing? Oh, thank you. So I am also a real estate agent with Barron, and I utilize this, and along with other agents that we've rolled out to, have had success with it. It depends on how do you choose to use it. There's so many different ways to use it. Could you go into golibertytitle.com?
Sure.
So here on our website is lead generation. It's the easiest way to get into it. It has a weird URL name. So if you typed in Title Toolbox, it's not going to bring you there. Easiest way, go to our website, hit lead generation, and it'll bring you into Title Toolbox. So here, as far as, like I said, the many ways of using it, can you have this phone number and email say generate report for me, please?
Sure.
All right, so if you had a specific address, does anybody have an address we can use?
Southeast.
River Lane?
River Lane, I'm sorry. Got it.
So this will, you'll hit generate report. We're going to go into profile with comps. This would be great for a listing appointment. You can go in, if you scroll down, they'll have a list of comps for you. You can go through and choose which one matches best to your subject property. Now, if you unclick any of these, you'll have to update results first. Update results. And then we can go to generate profile. So it's going to give you information about the house, but not only information about the house, it'll also give you original loan, tax basis, and historical transfers, among many more. We're going to do click to view. Yep.
So when you think about the pressures of, you know, you're interacting with your customer, you're trying to get them to get the listing, trying to close their business and win their trust. This report, in one fell swoop, in about 20 pages of glossy information, gives you so much information that allows you to potentially close new listings and get new customers.
So basically, we don't have to jump between the records of the city or county. This will generate all the background.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel as though this significantly reduces the time you spend on the MLS. So I know probably a bunch of people use the MLS to prospect. This is kind of all in like one area. It's not going to give you expireds though.
So it pulls up your HELOC, your mortgage.
Correct.
all that.
Yep. Your original loan. So now at that point you can kind of figure out, which if you go all the way down, there's an amortization schedule, which you can kind of figure out what they still owe on the property, you know, so that way you're going in with a significant amount of knowledge.
So believing them, telling you.
Exactly. You know what you're talking about going in there. Yep.
So first off, you know who the vesting seller is, you know who's in title. So are we dealing with the husband or wife or both? The vesting seller and the person, the couple or the single person in title is at the very top of the report. Then we go down to the loan information, what's left on the property. We have the historical tax basis, you understand exactly what taxes have been, where they may go is something quite different. And then, we have all the comps in there too, correct? Mm-hmm. So you can provide right away out of the gate that the property looks to be comping at this number.
So the information that we're able to, that we will be able to locate, does it come the same through the app and through your website, or is it going to be separate, different?
These are two different
Two different
systems.
tools. So
Correct.
the
Yep.
Title Toolbox does not have an app. This is completely driven off the website. And we basically have you in and we can help you understand how the system works and break down information into Excel and into your CRMs.
So if you wanted to do a demo, you can sit down with me and we'll go through it one-on-one. Okay, so now we're going to back out.
Back out of this.
Yep. So address specific, if we wanted to, we're going to use the same address. Let's go in this drop box where it says generate report. Let's go to nearby neighbors. So this one is really exciting to me. If you're new to real estate, would be good to use if you wanted to start farming in your own neighborhood or any neighborhood. I'm just going to run with that. This would be able to give you, you can limit the search, but if you wanted to reach out to your neighborhood and say, hey, I'm a new realtor, or hey, I'm a realtor in the area, this will give you however many people in that radius that you limited to off that address. So if you had a specific address, you can use that for that. Also, if we didn't have a specific address and you wanted to farm a certain area, we can go over into farming, Eddie. There's a radius search, boundary search. I'm just going to run with a boundary search just for sake of time.
So think about your just solds. We just sold a property in this particular neighborhood. You could target and pull down all the addresses and the owners of people you could sell just sold brochures to.
In your specific, like if you had your specific address, correct.
So let me just, for a moment, let me pause and just give you kind of a real world example. I recently did something very similar with a client. The recently sold home in my neighborhood had sold for just over $1 million. And it was just down the street from us. And I think that was a benchmark that I was certain that a lot of my immediate neighbors did not know about. And so that was a really kind of a shiny object to wave in front of my neighbors to say, listen, look at what's happening. And so I used that, and then when I determined who in the area was in a strong position in terms of equity and held their house for a long time, I went specifically to them and said, did you know your neighbor? And more than half did not know that it had transacted for that. And it creates a conversation, whether it's an immediate conversation with me in front of them, or a conversation at bed when the husband and wife are like, should we make a move now? Do you understand? We could cash out on 600,000, 700,000, 500, whatever it is. It's creating those conversations, and you being the conduit to that information is incredibly powerful. So that's something that basically this is the way that I would leverage that tool right there.
Okay. Could you do me a favor and
Yes.
get me in an area where we have a bigger list?
Sure. You just want me to zoom out a little bit more?
Or just a bigger boundary search so we can have more in that list that's going to pop up next.
Sure. How about this? Do you want me just to draw?
Yep. Okay, we're going to do get count. All right, so there are filters that you can use, which makes me excited. You can hone it down if you were specifically looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. If you had a customer, you couldn't find anything that's actually listed and you wanted to start searching off market, you can filter through there. We also have custom filters, which I like. If you wanted to hone in on out of state, next seller, non-owner, empty nesters, the next seller is one of my favorites because everybody loves money, and that's pretty much who has equity, and that's always an easy foot in the door, to approaching a potential customer. We're going to put that on. Let's
Next
put that
seller
filter on. Yep, just so we can show. We'll do get count. So also here, you can limit it if you didn't want to have so many pop up, because a lot will pop up. So let's limit it to 100 just for sake of numbers. I'm also going to talk about a third-party system, which you can send out mailers, and it has to be a minimum of 50 to send out those mailers. We're going to do get count. You download. Okay, now it'll tell you when it's sold, how much they bought it for, so there is a plethora of information here. If we go into dynamic stats, so you don't really know this area, but you like it and you want to farm it. So dynamic stats will tell you the turnover rate in that area. So if you see 2%, you probably might not want to waste your time. It does take a minute to think.
And everyone understands the turnover rate, correct? Especially some of those who've been around, the turnover rate, right? You only want to really hit those areas that you see people are actually moving in and out of frequently. Otherwise, your investment isn't very wise in trying to reach people that aren't looking to sell anyway.
Good turnover rates are what, between 5 and 8%, sort of?
I would say above 5 at the very least. Oh, not even telling us.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this is where it would be if it was to tell us. All right, so let's
Next.
get out of that. Yep. Exit out. Okay, so now we've created this list. You can use this list to get phone numbers and emails if you liked. So if you didn't want to actually use the mailer feature and you just wanted to cold call, there have been agents that have used this for cold calling and have success rates. If we go into edit search, over here in Premier Data, we have phone numbers and emails up here in this top right. You can do phone numbers, emails, or both. I always do both. That's completely up to you. Click that. We'll get count. All right, so 599 properties, $12. Now that $12 is the most you'll spend if that all comes back. If it doesn't all come back, you'll be charged accordingly. It does take it's not instant. It's gonna run through the numbers. It's gonna verify them through a system called Veraciem, and then you'll receive an email letting you know that your emails and phone numbers have been uploaded. So we'll do, all right, let's do pay now, just so I can show you really quick what it looks like.
Alexa, when those are delivered, are they delivered in a spreadsheet, or will you now see them populated in your?
You'll see them populated in your list.
Title Toolbox. Okay.
Yep. And then you'll scroll. So let's do pay now, and then I'll show you that.
Pay
just
now?
so I can show
Okay.
what it looks like. So you'll have to add a credit. You'll add the credit, and then you'll be able to pay for it. So it's kind of like a rewards
It'll
card,
save
kind
your
of like
information, yeah.
correct. Okay, so that's what it would look like. Now I can show you what we're going to exit out of that.
And that includes all absentee owners, current, owners in
Yeah,
the
so
local
now if
market.
you slide this way for me, Eddie, it'll tell you who's a owner and who lives in there and who doesn't live in there. Now, if you were to send out, that looks like
Non-owner.
there you go. So it'll tell you who's in it and not in it. If you wanted to send out mailers, say for rent versus own, you would have to physically mail those yourself because this is going to mail to the tax mailing address on there. All right, now if we go into export, I'm going to take you into the third-party exporting mailer. Go all the way down to print marketing. We're going to go into Deluxe. We use Deluxe. If you have the other two, you can use that as well, but we use Deluxe.
So once you've researched all the information, you can drop directly into a system that actually creates brochures, drip campaigns, other marketing items which are really useful.
And it's going to pull that list over into this system.
Proceed.
Yep.
What are those numbers? They show you that it's do not call list, or you have to still take a ratio?
Does not. Yep. Oh, am I in your way? I'm sorry.
Is that what you wanted?
Yes. So if we go into print, so your property specific would be your just listed, just solds, kind of like what you were talking about for sending out mailers. For previous or current listings, we have the home eval products.
Do you want me to go back?
No, that's fine. You went into it. We'll see it. So it'll generate already for you. You don't really have to put much time into it. You'll just load your pictures.
So those are postcards?
Correct, yep. Postcards. Now there's a mini size and a jumbo size. And then you'll have options like matte, gloss.
So it's showing you the front and then
Yep.
the back. Okay. Next.
Yes. So the home eval, go back, yep. Into print. Print. The one up here. Home eval. This one gives you the option that you can create your own, the front of the postcard, say in Canva, and then upload it into here. But also, there's also ones that are already done for you if you're not into that.
So it's taking all the data that we created, what we found in my list over here, and it's going to import it all into these postcards?
It's going to bring that list of those contacts into here that you'll be able to mail straight to them.
Got it.
So this will mail, it'll do everything for you. It'll mail them out for you. This comes with a custom QR code, which I think is really cool because it is tailored specifically to the homeowner that it's being sent to. And then when they scan that and enter in their information, you get an email letting you know. So now it's more become a warm lead than a cold lead because they're interested.
So you're reaching out to a customer and saying, what is your home worth? Scan the QR code, you're getting the valuation report, and when they actually click through to get the valuation report, you're getting an email that they've now basically indicated interest
Correct.
in what your marketing piece is saying.
And the way they get that unique QR code is because it's on the address that it's being sent to.
Yes, so each individual mailer will have a QR code on it specifically to the owner of that house, which that mailer is being mailed to. So when they scan it, it'll say, hey, owner at this address, do you know what your home's worth?
And it'll have that person's name and everything.
Correct. Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, anytime you can personalize any of that content, it lands so much better in the eyes of the recipient. Correct. Yeah.
You can also set a drip campaign that will send out a mailer every month that you can just set and forget, and that way you're staying in front of, that potential customer.
Do you need me to stay here or you want me to go back?
No, we can keep moving.
Okay.
Just now. There's also brochures, there's so many things you can do in here. Just play around in it.
And these are stamped and sent from there.
Yep. There is an option to send from here. I did 100 to my nearby neighbors, and it was 98 cents a mailer, mailed. Okay, we can go back to the slides.
Okay.
Oh, I've got the clicker.
Gotcha.
You want to click so I don't
I
walk
got you.
in front of it?
There
Oh,
you
you
go.
got it. Okay.
I'm with you.
So this is pretty much just a recap of what we went over. Generate report, profile with comps, vesting the seller.
So in one functionality, you're getting this entire listing report, which you can actually give to your customer and saying, hey, you know, we've understood who you are, what you would like to do, the property, the original loan, the tax basis, and create the comps to actually start to price out the home.
On that last one that you mail out and all that,
Mhm.
is there an option if I just wanted to print it myself?
Yep.
My printer, it had the QR code, it had the name, it had everything on it?
So it will give you a PDF, yes.
Okay.
That is an option.
Next.
Yep. Farming your area, again, there's all different ways in there, and if you guys have any questions or want a one-on-one demo, we can always make an appointment and sit down and go over it again.
Yeah, this is just an overview of,
Yep.
of the system so that when you're ready, you can schedule directly with Alexa, sit down and get one-on-one time with her, go over this again in much greater detail, and probably even get some hints in terms of what you're specifically trying to accomplish, who you're trying to target, and then she'll be able to help you, point you in that direction as well. I think this is a fantastic tool to leverage. And again, it speaks to what we were talking about earlier about being very specific and intentional with who you're reaching out to.
Yes, we do basically half-hour sessions. We come in, get a login and password. We'll run through the presentation in a much more detailed fashion. We'll help you get information and contacts down into a CSV file and actually start to build your database and outreach. So we can do it via the brochures. We can also help you with social media marketing, get the information out down into your spreadsheets and then out through Facebook.
So there is an option that the list you create, you can put it into a CSV that is tailored specifically for Facebook. You'd bring that CSV into Facebook and you can do targeted ads. Back to you.
Did you
Eddie.
want to mention something about
I
social
just
media?
did.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So I guess it's back to me.
What do you think the most useful part of Title Toolbox is? The absentee owners, the next sellers where you're getting calculations of equity?
Well, if you're asking me on a personal standpoint, I like the next sellers because I feel like that's a very easy way in.
Right.
You're not too aggressive. You're just, you're giving them information. Like, hey, you've got equity.
And then there's also a function where you can look at permits, liens, affidavits of death. You can actually use that as a filter to understand where there might be distress in a property and where you may be contacting either an attorney or a trust or an administrator that's actually starting to move property along. As you know, Florida's an area where there's lots of transfers. So that function is one of the filters. I think it's one of the most useful filters, is understanding where there's liens, permits, other affidavits that have been filed against a property.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks, Alexa. So what do we do now? Now, that middle section here with both of these professionals is going over very specific data. But now what do we do with that data? How do we leverage it? And we have access to this information, which is very powerful and very valuable, but how do we get it across to the people we want to reach, right? So we've already determined that we can find those exact farms or areas or demographic that you want to reach, but then what are we doing with that? Well, we're looking to educate your audience on what's important to them. That's number one. We need to let them know that these are the options that are available. So these tools allow you to start opening up a conversation with them about what's important to them and what they can do about it, okay? So let me get back to this clicker over here. So that leads to being specific with data and dollars that matter to them. And then the third element that I wanted to share with you is a little bit off topic, but is kind of important to bring up because it usually generates a lot of discussion, is this concept of AI. Who's been following the growth of artificial intelligence and how it may apply to our business? It's incredibly impactful. And I for one, am one that this will resonate differently with the younger people that are getting into the industry, but I for one love to see technology come in and change things. I'm not one like, no, it's always been like this. It must stay like this. This is the way I make my dollar. No, don't change my commission. Well, no. Life change, industries change, business changes, technology eats us all up, whether you like it or not. And so what I advocate for is to become very prepared and intelligent on what's going on and how it's going. Don't stick your head in the ground. Learn what's going on. How does it apply to my business? How can I leverage it? How can I use it to grow my business or to adapt and beat my competitor who is not doing it? Because they've decided that their Rolodex on their phone or their paper notes is good enough and I can do that. Okay? So if you're at the tail end of your career, you can probably just continue doing what you're doing. You've got your solid bulk or a database of people that trust you and like you, and that's everything. And that can be your audience until you stop doing this business called real estate. But if you're anywhere in the beginning or in the middle, or you still have aspirations to grow, understanding how AI is going to impact our industry is incredibly important. And I can go on whole other seminars just talking about that point, but I won't, and that's why I circled it, because that's very, very important. So we're going to use AI to create compelling content. These are a couple of ways that I leverage data. How do I message my customers? So I am somebody that I don't mind putting my mug on camera and relaying messages to people, my customers, my sphere, and getting them to understand. So I leverage video in a couple of different ways. For the masses, to educate on a larger scale through social media channels. But my most effective, by far, is very specific messages to people because of the data that I have, some of the data that you've been shown today, because I can speak directly to them and what's important to them and what's going on with them. The more specific, like making sure we put the name on the postcard, right, instead of dear customer, that kind of, that laser focus is what's so important. And it allows me to create messages that resonate for people, that are very specific. Here's one.
Did you know that for the 15th consecutive year, Florida has remained the top destination for foreign buyers, accounting for 23% of all international purchases in the U.S.? I just discussed this very point with Luis Realtors, a lender partner here in South Florida, on my podcast yesterday, as we went over the mix of elements that are clearly contributing to the market we currently have. This high demand is one of the reasons we're seeing such low inventory in our market. And it's no surprise, though, given the average and median existing home sale prices among international buyers were the highest ever recorded. Despite the challenges we have in the real estate market, Florida continues to attract foreign buyers with its beautiful beaches, warm weather, and relatively low real estate prices compared to many other markets. And here's something super interesting. History shows that regardless of what the market is doing with interest rates and the economy, there's always a significant group of people around the world that want to buy into and live our South Florida lifestyle.
So who does that go out to? That goes out to my database of agents outside of the country. Reminds them of me, right? Very softly. Not call me now, let me buy and sell you something. I'm educating. I'm sharing. I'm reminding them why Florida might be a smart investment. Okay? And then there's another one right here too.
Ever wondered why home price trends differ across regions? Geographic location is the key. While the recent annual report shows a general decline in home prices, that's not universally applicable throughout the entire country. Locations such as the Northeast, Southern states, and specifically South Florida continue to witness an upswing. Whether you're planning to invest or cash out, it's crucial to understand your local market dynamics.
Crucial to understand your local market dynamics. What's specific to you? Okay? So those are just a couple of examples that go out. And again, I use these video examples because they travel and communicate well via email, social media posts, a text message, a one-on-one text message to somebody. They travel really well through all those different communication channels. And so when you bundle this with a click below, I bundled this report for you from Title Toolbox. Now you're giving them all the data, you've spoken to them, you've been in front of them, and they have all the contextual data that applies to them. That to me is a home run. I think that to me is a really smart, professional package that reaches somebody that says, this guy knows what he's talking about, let me reach out to him to help me with my real estate needs. Okay.
How
So
do people create these videos, Eddie? How do you recommend people start with this sort of bundle?
So that's an entirely different class, and I love having that one. So there's enough people that want to have that one. I'm happy to hold that one because that one's really powerful. But this one is just in one of my listings, and this was in my studio in Stewart. I have a studio in Stewart. But the short answer is it's a $26 tripod from Amazon, and it's your phone, and it's another $30, $40 microphone. That's it. And favorable lighting. So there was a window in front of me over here, kind of at this angle. And in this one, same thing, there was another window in front of me. So you don't have to have expensive lights. It helps to have a light. They're not expensive, under $100. Under $200, you're all in, because you already have the most powerful thing, which is your phone. And you just gotta know how to set it up, right? You don't want it to shoot up your nose, right? And you don't wanna be looking up. I know some of us like to have this angle when we take our shots. But guess what? Everyone knows what you look like. They've all seen you. So the better we can get about not being self-concerned about the way we look, self-conscious rather, the better. But that's how I do it. Relatively simple, and I don't, there are obviously some editing in here, with some captions and fly-in images and things like that. It's a little more advanced, whatever. I have fun with it, so it's why I do it. But it's not something you have to do. I think if you just sent a sincere video with your face and sharing something important, I think this goes a long way. So that's what I do there.
And if people wanted studio time in your studio, you could help them with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this isn't about me, but I mean, if I'm here for Liberty, but I've been doing this a long time. I'm here to help. That's kind of the spirit we all got together. It's like, hey, what can we do together? What do you know? What do I know? How can we help each other? That's everything. I'm 50 years old already, so my girls are out of the house. I'm an empty nester, so it's a very unique time for me where it's like, what can we do together? What do you need help with? What should we partner on? That. So it's really fun. So yes, you want to reach out to me, reach out to me. That's perfectly fine. I'm happy to help you. You're welcome at my studio. If you just go to floridapodcast.studio, you'll see my website. But I want to be able to, talk about any questions you have specifically at this point, and also talk about next time. Are there any things that resonated with you? Is there anything that we want to go deeper in for next time with the things we've talked about, or a completely new topic that kind of pairs in with what we've talked about that you'd be interested in, especially some of the newer agents? Yes, please.
I'm really big with social media marketing, so I use a lot of different tools for editing and voiceovers and stuff like that. So I think maybe doing a class on that would be great.
Wonderful.
Social media is huge, and it puts you out to a very large audience. And I think a lot of people don't really necessarily know how to utilize social media. But I don't mind being in front of the camera. I like doing the fun edits and things like that. So
Wonderful. So the way I edited that resonates with you, right? Yeah. So yeah, so it's one thing to shoot video and put it out on social media. It really is a job unto itself, and it can feel overwhelming. It really is. It's a craft. It's something you really need to be good at. But I've been able to pare it down to very easy, manageable chunks for content creation and shooting video and being on social media that I think would be very helpful for all of you. And it doesn't take over your entire life, or you don't need to hire another person. So that's the way kind of I approached it, because we all wear too many hats as it is with everything, especially for solo operations. If we don't have a team, there's a lot of stuff that we need to do. And so to add something else that really deserves a lot of attention in order to do it right, that's the thing. It's one thing to do it, it's another thing to do it right and effective and reach the people you're trying to reach. So I'm happy to host one of those if that's something you want. And now because we have all of your information, because you attended this event, I will reach out to you. We'll include you into the Agent Hub, so now you're part of Agent Hub. And inside of Agent Hub, you'll be privy to all these upcoming training events, and you'll be able to access and reach us very easily. Okay? Anyone else? Questions?
Just repeat your Florida podcast.
It's the URL for me. Actually, the easiest way is probably my full name. And I'll spell it out for you because I didn't write it out or anywhere like that. It's just Eddie, so it's Eddie. My last name is Arguelles, Eddie Arguelles.com. So just my name.com. ARGUELLES. And you'll have links to everything there from that spot. And you will see one link that says Florida Podcast Studio.
And then broadly, you have my business card in front of you. So we would love to set up one-on-one sessions to go through Title Toolbox and be able to understand how to extract information, to run the filters, and to get that information that's extracted out into brochures and also social media marketing campaigns. So the idea is to introduce this technology very broadly at this level, but then to come in to sit with us for about half an hour, 45 minutes at Liberty, and we will get you going in the right direction.
Please take advantage of this wonderful opportunity that Liberty Title is bringing all of you. I think this is an excellent opportunity for all of you to hone in on a technology, hone in on a specific strategy, and run with it. I always tell agents that when I've trained them, young or old, doesn't make a difference. It's just become masterful at one or two things. You don't have to try to understand all of it. There is just so much money, i.e. transactions, money in your pocket, with a very specific intentional effort. It doesn't have to, I don't have to know about this and that and do this and my Facebook post here and my lead gen, did my email go out here and did I attend that open house and did it, no, it's all valuable, it all works, it all does, but you don't need to do it all. Hone in on 1, 2, 3 things that you're super good at and you enjoy, because that will help you do it more often and become very consistent. And that's the problem. Consistency is what kills us all. And so that's my advice to you, practical advice from doing this for so many years. And that's what I advise agents to. And this is a wonderful opportunity. Using Title Toolbox, using TitleCapture, those two alone, done right, with the help of Alexa, because she's willing to have you guys come through and do a one-on-one, take advantage of that, please. I think that's wonderful. Go Liberty Title, we're revamping the website, so it'll look a little bit different here in the coming days, but golibertytitle.com is where you need to head. Can I get a round of applause for Liberty Title, please? Closing remarks?
Look, it's 2024. It's a year that not sure I thought existed, meaning it's the future. It's now, growing up in the 80s, you think about Back to the Future and flying cars and hoverboards and, it's just not there. But what is here is the ability to use the latest technology tools to grow your real estate business, which is really why we all come to work every day at Liberty Title, which is to give you the best opportunity. And again, our website, Go Liberty Title, will have all our tools. We're putting an Airbnb calculator on there, so for customers that are out there looking to buy properties and understand the yield on a potential Airbnb situation, that'll be out there at Go Liberty Title. And then we'd love to have you through, as I say, for half an hour, 45-minute session with Alexa and I to go through in deep detail and a deep dive as to how to get this information out into brochures and into social media marketing. So we'd love to see you very soon at Liberty.
So what I say to you is stay connected. Based on what Jonathan just said, this is Agent Hub. This is where you're going to come to learn the best strategies that we can offer you in the real estate industry. Thanks to Liberty Title and our partnership. I've been doing this a long time. There's really a lot of good stuff by staying connected here. And in a very unique way, I'm going to stay very connected to this effort, so you'll be able to reach out to me and meet with me if you'd like. Again, you're welcome at my studio to have meetings, to understand what we're doing.
I would suggest just going and even looking at it. It is a great setup, your studio.
Oh, the studio.
Yep, even just to go by and look at it.
It's 3163 Southeast Lionel Terrace. It's in South Stewart. It's not a drop-in situation, so definitely reach out to me first. Use my URL, connect with me. Let me know you'd like to stop by. You're welcome there. It's my playground. I've got 3 different studio spaces. It was only meant to be my man cave, and all of a sudden it became this thing. It's the truth. It's the honest truth. It's the honest truth. But we've got great, and these 2 gentlemen who are shooting with us today are responsible for building that out with me. Ryan and Christian, they're fantastic. So technical perspective, they're wonderful as well, and they're available as well to help you with that. But thank you again. Thank you, Jonathan.
Absolutely.
Have a wonderful day. And we'll see you on the next one.